Good evening. Welcome to the Mind of STEM channel, where you get your daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. I'm your host, Leon Jones, and in this evening's topic, I'm going to talk about the subject of biotechnology. Now, when we deal with anything with the prefix bio, we're dealing with living organisms. When we talk about technology, we're talking about the science, biotechnology. So many of you have heard of what biotechnology is, but do you know the real definition of biotechnology? If you don't, I'm going to give it to you right now. Biotechnology is a broad area of biology. And that broad area of biology involves living organisms, living systems. And what biotechnology does, it uses living systems and organisms to develop or make products or any technological application that uses biological systems, living organisms, or derivatives thereof to modify products or processes for specific use or specific uses. Now, let me make a correction. There's no such word as uses, it's uses. Again, let me go over the meaning of biotechnology again. Basically, in a broad sense, biotechnology uses living systems and organisms to develop and make products or any technological application that uses biological systems, living organisms, or derivatives thereof to make or modify products or processes for specific use or uses. Now, depending on the tools and applications, it often overlaps with the related fields of molecular biology, bioengineering, biomedical engineering, biomanufacturing engineering, molecular engineering, etc. Now, one thing you have to understand when it comes to biotechnology, biotechnology does not involve DNA editing as it is part of the new branch CRISPR, CRISPR, which was recently found by Osaka University researcher Yashizumi Ishino and his colleagues back in 1987. Now, for thousands of years, mankind has used biotechnology in agriculture, food production, environment, and medicine. Now, the term is largely believed to have been coined in 1919 by Hungarian engineer Karali Ericki. Now, in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, because the term is relatively new. So when we talk about the late 20th century, we basically talking about the 90s, the 1990s, and the early 2000s. Well, since that time, biotechnology has expanded to include new and diverse sciences such as genetics, recombinant gene techniques, applied immunology, and development of pharmaceutical therapies and diagnostic tests. Now, again, the wide concept of biotech or biology, again, so you understand, it just encompasses a wide range or wide ranges of procedures by modifying living organisms according to human purposes. Now, biotechnology is the research and development in the laboratory using bioinformatics for exploration, extraction, exploitation, and production from any living organisms and any source of biomass by means of biochemical engineering, where high value added products could be planned by being reproduced by biosynthesis, for example, forecasted, formulated, developed, manufactured, and marketed it for the purpose of sustainable operations for the return of bottomless investment on R&D. Now, if you don't know what R&D is, I'll do a video on R&D. R&D stands for research and development. And of course, gaining durable rights for exclusive rights, sales, and prior to this to receive national and international approval from the results on animal experimentation and human experimentation, especially on the pharmaceutical branch of biotechnology, to prevent any undetected side effects or safety concerns by using the products. Now, the utilization of biological processes, organisms, or systems to produce that are anticipated to improve human lives is termed biotechnology. Now, by contrast, bioengineering is generally thought of as a related field that more heavily emphasizes higher system approach, not necessarily the altering or using of biological materials directly, but for interfacing with and utilizing living things. Now, bioengineering is the application of the principles and natural science to tissues, cells, and molecules. Now, this ties back into microbiology, the video I did last week. Now, this can be considered as the use of knowledge from working with and manipulating biology to achieve a result that can improve functions in plants and animals. Now, relatedly, biomedical engineering, or some call it health engineering, is an overlapping field that often draws upon and applies biotechnology by various definitions, especially in the subfields of biomedical or chemical engineering, such as tissue engineering, biopharmaceutical engineering, and genetic engineering. Now, getting to some of the history, although not normally what comes to mind first, many forms of human-derived agriculture clearly fit the broad definition of utilizing a biotechnological system to make products. Indeed, the cultivation of plants may be viewed as the earliest biotechnological enterprise. Now, agriculture has been theorized to become the dominant way of producing food since the Neolithic Revolution. Through early biotechnology, the earliest farmers selected and bred the best suited crops, having the highest yields to produce enough food to support a growing population. Now, as crops and fields became increasingly large and difficult to maintain, it was discovered that specific organisms and their byproducts could effectively fertilize, restore nitrogen, and control pests. Now, throughout the history of agriculture, farmers have inadvertently altered the genetics of their crops by introducing them to new environments and breeding them with other plants. That's one of the first forms of biotechnology. Now, there were processes that included the fermentation of beer. Now, these processes were introduced in early Mesopotamia. Now, if you don't know where Mesopotamia is the Middle East, Pakistan and Palestine, those areas, Egypt, China, and India. And still, the fermentation of beer is utilized in the same biological methods. Now, in brewing, and when I talk about brewing, I'm talking about brewing beer. Malted grains, and those grains contain enzymes, convert starch from grains into sugar, then adding specific yeast to produce beer. Now, in this process, carbohydrates in the grains are broken down into alcohols, such as ethanol. Now, if you don't know what ethanol alcohol is, it is alcohol. In fact, E85 is a form of ethanol alcohol that is used in cars. But you have ethanol alcohol later. Other cultures produced the process of lactic acid fermentation, which produced other preserved foods such as soy sauce, Fermentation was also used in this period of time to produce leavened bread, although the process of fermentation was not fully understood until Louis Pasteur's work in 1857. Now, Louis Pasteur is an interesting individual. If you don't know who Louis Pasteur is, when I did my biology video, his name came up. Louis Pasteur was a French biologist, microbiologist, and chemist renowned for his discoveries of vaccinations, microbial fermentation, and pasteurization. You can check out my video on microbiology and biochemistry, and you will see that name. Now, when we deal with fermentation, we talk about Louis Pasteur's work in 1857. Now, it is still the first use of biotechnology to convert a food source into another form. Now, before the time of Charles Darwin's work in life. Now, I mentioned Charles Darwin. If you don't know who he was, Charles Darwin was an English naturalist. Now, there was also another Charles Darwin who did Only the Strong Survive, and that was on a psychology front. But Charles Robert Darwin was an English naturalist. He also studied geology, and he was also a biologist. Now, he was known for contributing to the science of evolution. Now, when we talk about evolution, we talk about change. Species change over periods of time. Let me give you an example. Human beings, we came from Homo sapiens, which were apes. Now, when it comes to Charles Darwin, his proposition that all species of life have descended over time from common ancestors is now widely accepted. Now, when we deal with biotechnology, you have to look at 4 distinct areas. And you have to include healthcare, which is medical, crop production, agriculture, non-food or industrial uses of crops and other products. Examples, you've heard of this before: biodegradable plastics, vegetable oils, biofuels, and other environmental uses. Now, for example, one application of biotechnology is the directed use of microorganisms for the manufacture of organic products. Examples include beer and milk. Another example is using naturally present bacteria by the mining industry, and that's known as bioleaching. Now, biotechnology is also used to recycle, treat waste, clean up contaminated sites that have been caused by industrial activities. That's also known as bioremediation for you folks who are in the environmental market. And also, biotechnology has been used to create biological weapons. Now, when we deal with biotechnology, just like engineering, there are several branches. And one of the branches I will talk about right now is bioinformatics. It's also called gold biotechnology. What bioinformatics is, it's an interdisciplinary field that addresses biological problems by utilizing computational techniques, and it makes the rapid organization as well as the analysis of biological data possible. The field may also be referred to as computational biology and can be defined as conceptualizing biology in the terms of molecules and then applying informatics techniques to understand and organize the information associated with these molecules on a large scale. So we're looking at data here. Now, bioinformatics plays a key role in various areas such as functional genomics, structural genomics, and proteomics. And what happens? There's a key component. These are key components in the biotechnology and pharmaceutical sectors. Again, you have your proteomics, your structural genomics, and your functional genomics. These are key components in biotechnology and pharmaceuticals. Now you also have blue biotechnology, and blue biotechnology is based on the exploitation of sea resources to create products and industrial applications. Now this branch of biotechnology is mostly used for the industries of refining and combustion, principally on the production of bio-oils with photosynthetic microalgae. Then you have green biotechnology, and that's biotechnology applied to agricultural processes. An example would be the selection and domestication of plants via micropropagation. Another example is the designing of transgenic plants to grow under specific environments in the presence or absence of chemicals. Now, one hope is that green biology might produce more environmentally friendly solutions than traditional industrial agriculture. An example of this is the engineering of a plant to express a pesticide, thereby ending the need of external applications to pesticides. Now, an example of this would be BT corn. Whether or not green biotechnology products such as this are ultimately more environmentally friendly is considered a debate. It's a product of debate. Now, it is commonly considered as the next phase of green revolution, and I'm talking about green biotechnology. And when we talk about the green revolution, this can be seen as a platform to eradicate world hunger by using techniques which enable the production of the most fertile and resistance towards biotic and abiotic stress plants, and ensures application of environmentally friendly fertilizers and the use of biopesticides. It is mainly focused on the development of agriculture. On the other hand, some of the uses of green biotechnology involve microorganisms to clean and reduce waste. Now, you also have red biotechnology, and that's basically used in the medical and pharmaceutical industries in health preservation. Now, this branch basically involves the production of vaccines and antibiotics, regenerative therapies, creation of artificial organs, and new diagnosis of diseases, as well as developments of hormones, stem cells, antibodies, siRNA, and diagnostic tests. Then there's white biotechnology, also known as industrial biotechnology. And that's basically biotechnology applied, and I mentioned it before, to the industrial process. Now, an example of this is designing of an organism to produce what we call a useful chemical. Now, another example is the using of enzymes as industrial catalysts to either produce valuable chemicals or destroy hazardous polluting chemicals. Now, white biotechnology tends to consume less in resources than traditional processes used to produce industrial goods. Then there's yellow biotechnology, or when we say yellow biotechnology, we basically refer to the use of biotechnology in food production. For example, making wine, cheese, and beer by fermentation. It has also been used to refer to biotechnology applied to insects. This includes biotechnology-based approaches for the control of harmful insects. That's control of harmful insects. I almost said human insects. Make a correction. This type of biotechnology, yellow biotechnology, it's an approach that's used to control harmful insects. So The characterization and utilization of active ingredients or genes of insects are used for research or application in agriculture and medicine and various other approaches. Now, there's grade technology or grade biotechnology correction, and that's dedicated to environmental applications and focused on the maintenance of biodiversity and the remotion of pollutants. Then there's brown technology, and that's related to the management of arid lands and deserts. One application is the creation of enhanced seeds that resist extreme environmental conditions of arid regions, which is related to the innovation, creation of agricultural techniques and management of resources. Then there's violent biotechnology. It's related to law, ethical, and philosophical issues around biotechnology. Then you also have dark biotechnology. It's the color associated with bioterrorism or biological weapons and biowarfare, which uses microorganisms and toxins that cause diseases and death in humans, livestock, and crops. Now, going back to that biotechnology, the dark biotechnology, you never know, this could be used as a planted part of the coronavirus. Because going next to the next topic, well, in medicine, modern biotechnology has many applications in areas such as pharmaceutical drug discoveries and production, pharmaco genomics and genetic testing or genetic screening. Now, pharmacogenomics is basically a combination of pharmacology and genetics, and that's the technology that allows how genetic makeup affects the individual's response to drugs. Also, biotechnology can be used in agriculture. If you ever heard of GMOs, well, a GMO is a genetically modified food, and these are plants used in agriculture, the DNA of which has been modified with genetic engineering techniques. Of course, when you deal with biotechnology for individuals who don't know about it is very broad. I just gave you many examples of how it's used, and I broke down the disciplines of biotechnology. So, in the end, biotechnology is a broad area of biology involving living systems and organisms to develop or make products or any technological application that uses biological systems, living organisms or derivatives thereof to basically make or modify products or processes for specific use. And that concludes this video on biotechnology. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. Also, subscribe to the 401 Talk Zone radio show. That's also my second YouTube channel. That's actually my main YouTube channel. And you can catch me on Blog Talk Radio every weekend. The guest calling number is 215-383-5785. Now, if you can't find any of my YouTube videos or Blog Talk Radio shows, you can find me on Facebook. Once again, I'd like to thank you for viewing this video on this channel, The Mind of STEM. And right here on the Mind of STEM channel, you get a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. Once again, some of the words were a little difficult to pronounce, but I got through the information because I want you to understand this overview of what biotechnology is, but the message should be clear. In the meantime, once again, thank you for listening to this edition of the Mind of STEM channel. I featured biotechnology. We should have a wonderful and gracious night. Till next time. My name is Leon Jones. God bless you. Stay safe and good night.